Yo, Lana, I don't know if you should make a podcast, bro. You're probably gonna get canceled.
Wait, a podcast, Lana? That's sick.
Lana's starting a podcast? Perfect.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'll subscribe. You're my best friend, but are you sure this is what you want to do, Lana?
You're literally made for this.
Hi guys, I'm Lana J. I'm a Portland, Oregon wedding and elopement photographer, and this video has been long awaited. I've had so many people ask me to tell this story. It's a huge part of my business and my brand. It's kind of like my reckoning story of how I became a photographer and all of the things that I do now. And I'm ready to tell this story. It is a crazy one. If you are a fan of long form story times, a little bit of toxicity, and a little bit of business comeback story, this is for you. I'm gonna try really hard to not make a bunch of cuts in this video. I have my emotional support dog with me because this is a very long, hard story to tell, but it's an important one. Before we get started on my story time, I want to share a few things that I think would get me canceled because this is my first video, and yeah, I just don't want to get canceled by you guys. So I'm gonna just go over some of the few things because I will be making more videos. My first thing is that I am not innocent in this story time either. We had a very, very, very toxic marriage and it was not good. The second thing I will say is that I've probably said words in the past that you are not allowed to use in 2026. I'm from California and I was a hood rat teenager. Say less. That's it. Okay? Without further ado, hello, hi, my name is Lana J, and this is my toxic divorce story of how my husband stole $10,000 worth of our photography gear, locked me out of our business website and my entire portfolio, and abandoned me and my daughter, and we never saw him again. And so yeah, let's go into it. So who the fuck did I marry? Let's just talk about the beginning of our story. We'll call him Billy. Okay, so I meet Billy at a time in my life where I was going through some pretty rough things, and Billy just played this like main character, hero kind of person in my life. He didn't push dating or anything onto me, but he very much was like playing the hero card, and I'm going to, you know, save the day, and I'm gonna be here for you, and you know, blah blah blah. So of course, like for me, I'm just like, that's amazing, that's so great. You know, this guy is just like so protective and incredible, and he takes care of me, and and I loved that. I felt safe, I felt very protected, I felt like I had met my person really. We were going on adventures all the time. He was taking me to waterfalls. One of our first dates was at Oneonta Waterfall, and it was actually closed down at the time. Sorry, my dog is like, come here. So anyways, he took me to Oneonta Waterfalls, and I thought it was so romantic and special. And because it was closed down, so we were the only ones there, that we had the whole entire waterfall to ourselves. It was like a really cinematic, like adventurous hike, and I was really proud of myself for doing that with him. And that waterfall comes back in the story time later, by the way. So anyways, we date, we love each other, we fall in love, the whole shebang. He tells me early on in dating that he has a son, and I'm like, okay, like that's fine, totally fine. Like, where's your son though? And he's like, oh, like I don't see him because his mom hates me and keeps him away from me. I'm like 21 at this point, so I don't really know anything about like custody or like custody agreements or like anything like that. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that sounds so scary and sad. And of course, like my empathy heart feels bad for him. And so I tell him, like, of course we have to start fighting for your son legally, like, of course, like, and he seems hesitant about this. I don't think I caught it at the time, but like looking back, he was hesitant about any of that conversation. We keep dating, maybe like a month goes into it, 2 months, I don't know. And like, I'm asking him, like, have you heard from your son? Like, have you heard anything from like his mom? And he's like, no, like, we hate each other. There's just no way. She's never gonna let me see him. And so I'm like, okay, well, like, we really need to fight for your son. Like, I don't think that, like, this is okay with me. Like, this is not sitting right with me. And so I paid for him to get an attorney, and we started the fight. At one point, he did try to, like, pull out of doing that. Like, he pulled me aside, and he was just like, this is so expensive, and, like, you know, maybe we should just kind of let her win. Like, I don't know, maybe his life would be better if, like, we just leave it alone. And I actually remember, like, it was a pretty serious toned conversation, and I looked at him and I was just like, honestly, like, if you don't fight for your son, like, I can't see myself, like, being in a long-term relationship with you. And so back to fighting for his son, who I hadn't met yet, but I was growing an attachment to this idea of, like, we're gonna be a family, and, like, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna have this, like, awesome story that, you know, we're gonna be able to tell his son later that we fought for him, and, like, all this stuff. Like, I'm, you know, fantasizing in my head. And because that's something I'll say about marrying or dating a sociopath, is, like, they really, really love to keep you in that fantasy state as long as they can. And so just keep that in mind. I'm not saying that, like, all lovey-dovey stuff is love bombing, but just keep that in mind, that people who are trying to abuse you or take things from you in a relationship connection situation, they love to keep you in that fantasy state because it is so much easier to manipulate you in it. So anyways, fast forward, we're still fighting for his son. Things are really stressful. Things are really toxic with that. His son's mother, you know, Billy and her are just, like, never getting along. Like, they hate each other. She's sending, like, some of the craziest psychotic text messages I've ever seen in my life. And, like, I'm working really heavily with him. I'm paying for the attorneys. I'm helping email her back. I'm doing everything. And eventually, we got a call from one of his son's mom's neighbors, and they were like, hey, she's abandoned her property. We don't know what's going on. Seemed pretty toxic. Do you guys want to come and see if there's any of my ex? Whatever we were at this time. I think we were about to get engaged. Yes. Okay. All right. So we were about to get engaged. We go to this neighbor's house to go check out his son's old property that was abandoned. And we're looking around the property, and I see drugs on the floor, basically. And so we call CPS. That's the whole thing. His neighbor looks at us, and she's like, are you guys gonna fight for him? And obviously we're like, yeah, we're gonna fight for him. And she's like, are you guys married yet? And we're like, no, we're not married yet. We're waiting a little bit, but, like, we definitely want to. And she's like, well, for custody, it really will look better if you're married. And we both kind of looked at each other, and we're like, okay, well, you know, when we're ready. And so we get home that night, and he, like, sits me down, and he's like, close your eyes. And I'm like, okay. And so I close my eyes. My eyes are closed, and he's tying our hands together, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, this is, like, a ceremonial thing, and it means that I want to marry you, and I think we should. And basically, like, I called him out for only asking me because the neighbor had said something. And so I told him no. And I did tell him, like, obviously I want to marry you, but, like, I want you to think of your own thing and, like, actually propose, and, like, I want it to be special, and, like, I want a ring, you know, I deserve that. And so a week later, he takes me out to dinner. I knew what was about to happen. And yeah, he asks the question in, like, some dumb nice restaurant. There was, like, literally, like, zero thought to this other than it being a nice restaurant. Which, like, if you know me, not my thing. I didn't like all the people around and stuff. And so anyways, he proposes, and we get married. We get married in his mom's yard. I wanted to elope, but he wanted to get married in his parents' backyard. So that's what we did. We got married in his parents' backyard, and we started getting time with his son. And obviously, like, I love kids. And so I bonded with his son, and over time became his step-parent. And at a lot of points, I was this child's main primary parent due to my ex-husband's mental health and stuff going on, and this kid's mom also mental health stuff going on. So I ended up being like the primary parent to a child that was not mine. And we did our wedding, and we hired a wedding photographer, and he didn't do the best job, and that kind of sparked something in me. My husband was really good at photography, and I was like, we should totally start like a wedding photography business, and you know, we'll just keep practicing until we're good at it, and then we'll have a business, and like that'll be so cool. And so we started like building this. Like, I'm like set on doing this. I'm super excited about it because I also want to get into photography, but I also really enjoyed like editing and like the content creation and the advertising and the just being a social media presence. And like, I just thought this was going to be so much fun for us. And honestly, it was for a while. We had a blast. He was a decently talented photographer. Like, I won't lie. Billy was a really good technical photographer. Like, a lot of the technical skills that I know, I learned from him. And so I was our second shooter for a long time, and he was our lead shooter. So I was the one marketing, advertising, putting up the posts, everything, running our pages, literally everything you can think of, except for taking the photos, right? But then sometimes I was taking the photos because I was like replacing him, or like he was absent, or I had to be there, or I had to step in, or like sometimes he just really wanted my help with posing, so I was there and I would bring my camera. Anyway, by the end of it, I was doing like 90% of it probably. And I just wasn't like calling myself our lead photographer because like I didn't want to take like his thing, you know? And while our business is being built and like that's being really successful, our marriage is falling more and more apart. My husband at the time, Billy's mental health got worse and worse and worse, and like it was just so bad. When we had gotten together, he had told me that he had struggled with alcohol usage before. I didn't know the extent to that. He also told me that he had epilepsy, and this was like a really big thing in our marriage. Always talked about him having epilepsy. There was like big bouts and dramas of time where like he couldn't find a doctor to prescribe him his seizure meds, and like he needed to keep switching doctors, right? And I didn't really catch on, honestly, for a while, but at some point I realized like, oh, this man is like doctor shopping so that he can get on Xanax. I then realized that he does not have epilepsy. He has a seizure disorder that is caused by alcohol withdrawal. I know, shocker. So the only times he was having seizures were when he was in alcohol withdrawal. Anytime he was sober, guess what? No seizures. And so he's just like basically trying to get on Xanax all the time with these doctors and things and whatever, scamming doctors and changing them until he can find one that will prescribe him that. And yeah, basically, his alcoholism kept getting worse throughout our marriage. Like, he'd have long bouts of sobriety, but anytime he'd relapse, it would be really bad. He would steal my car, he would lock me out of the house, he would take my keys, he would go to like a hostel room for like 7 days and pretty much just drink at like all of the bars in Portland for like 7 to 8 days. And I always had to put our accounts like on freeze, or like I had to move funds over to me. It just like the entire marriage was like a financial mess. Like he constantly was like using our rent money for things that should not have been used for. Yeah, he literally would just like use all of our marital funds. He would steal my car, and like at this point it wasn't even like our marital car, it was my car. Which like that's a whole other story. I didn't drive at the time. This also goes into the story later. I did have a car though, don't ask. And so anyways, he steals my car, and all this stuff is going on in our marriage, and I tell myself every time like I'm gonna be done, and I was never ever done, ever. I always forgave him, I always let him come back. I think a big part of that was just being in like a creative business duo. I didn't want to let that go. Like, I had worked so hard on our business and our creative like community, and I was scared of losing that, and I had like totally fallen in love with that whole world, and I didn't want to let it go. So I didn't. But we did have a really, really massive breakup around year 2, and then got back together.
I forgot to talk about this part, honestly, because it's really traumatic for me to relive, but this was also the part of our marriage where he pushed me down the stairs, and I had to get a restraining order on him. These are photographs of me from the stairs incident, and his messages towards me during that time in our marriage, just to give you an idea of the man that I married. Yikes.
After this, things did get better for like a little while. I won't say that things were perfect, but I got back to focusing on our business, and I thought that we were kind of on like a healing journey. And then about a year and a half, 2 years after that breakup, Billy and I start talking about wanting kids. And I have tocophobia, which is basically fear of pregnancy. And I had told Billy this lots of times. Like, I'm very, very, very scared of having children. I still wanted one really bad. Like, I knew I would be a good mom. I was just literally like that scared of pregnancy, like seriously. And so we had to talk about it. And also I was like, okay, like, our son's mom is going to make our life just hell if we have a baby. Like, she's gonna be pissed. And she definitely was. She definitely caused some problems. And so I was like nervous about that aspect and like the stress level of that and like how reactive she can be sometimes. But we talked about it and we planned it and we had a baby. I got pregnant about 3 months into that. And honestly, like, I was living my best life. Like, I had the business of my dreams. I had a husband that was, you know, I mean, I don't even have an adjective for what he was, but I had a husband, okay? I had a husband and I had kids and I had my community and I was successful. So that was my life for a little while. Then, you know, we go through the pregnancy. He had a few bouts of being caught being unfaithful, or I guess like I should say trying to be unfaithful. There was like 1 or 2 times before pregnancy, and then I caught him again during pregnancy. And I say like trying to be unfaithful because a lot of the times, like, this is really funny, but a lot of the girls were like OnlyFans bots. Like, they weren't even like real OnlyFans girls. Like, these were like Nigerian men scamming him, pretending to be a woman type stuff. And he's like chatting to them like normal people, being like, oh, like, me and my wife are fighting, like, how are you today? So these girls that have like their, you know, okay. Anyway, so I caught him doing that a few times. We worked through that. I forgive him. As always, we have our baby. Our baby was born 2 months early. So she was in the NICU. She was a preemie. And honestly, like, that whole experience, I thought that I had like re-fallen in love with him. He was really helpful during like the infant newborn process. Looking back now, I honestly just think that he really liked the attention he was getting for like going above and beyond for a little while, because that above and beyond behavior stopped the second we got home with our baby. As soon as the doctors and everybody wasn't there to see it, it was all me. He actually had 12 weeks of work off after we got home from the hospital with our baby still, and because she was born early, I didn't have any more time off because I'm 100% self-employed. So as soon as we brought our baby back home, I had to go into full-time back to business and motherhood. And even though he had 12 weeks off, I was somehow responsible for bringing our newborn baby to my job, which, if you know, my other business is a preschool. So I was bringing my newborn infant preemie daughter to my preschool because my husband at the time was too tired, because since I worked, he got up in the night, which was only like once or twice a night, honestly, at the time. But he was too tired, so he slept all day, and so I had to bring her to preschool. So I had to hold a newborn and like do that while I'm taking care of like 3 other kids. it was craziness. Luckily, my daughter was okay. Her immune system was good. I was able to keep her safe, like keep her kind of away from the other kids as much as I could. And we honestly just made it work. While this is going on, obviously, we're still parenting our other child, my stepson. And that was like always a really toxic, volatile relationship between him and his baby mom. To a point where like he like hated going to pick up his son. Like he would often have his mom or a friend or someone else go do it because he didn't even want to be like in a parking lot with this woman, let alone a room with her, which we'll get there, don't you worry. So I was like never really tripping on baby mom, right? Like I was like, okay, like I don't have to worry about that at all. And now that our baby was here, his son was in kindergarten. And we had 50-50 parenting time, but we did not have 50-50 custody, which kind of caused some like weirdness in like making decisions basically. So I was like, maybe you should go to dinner with your baby mom and you should talk to her and like just see if she's willing to do 50-50 joint custody. Like it's been a few years, we're having a baby, like maybe just maybe she'll be a reasonable human and we can move on with our lives, right? And I honestly thought this was a really good idea. I was honestly really proud of myself. I was like, cool, like I have healed. I am like ready to work with this woman and ready to like, you know, blend our families and like get over ourselves, right? I was so ready for that. And so he goes, he takes her to dinner. I'm literally not worried at all. Like I can't even tell you how not worried I was. Like I was on the phone with my friend and she's like, he's been gone for like 3.5 hours. Like, are you sure you're not worried? I'm like, girl, he hates her. Like he would never, like, what do I gotta be worried for, you know? And so I literally like just didn't even think about it. Honestly, I was like, wow, okay, like maybe they're having a really intense argument or something about custody stuff. I don't know. Then he comes home, you know, we kiss, we hug, whatever. And I'm like, how did it go, babe? And he's like, it went really good. She gave me everything that I wanted. And I was like, oh, she gave you 50-50? And he's like, yep, no, done deal. Like, it's good. We're good. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And I'm like, literally like so excited. I'm like, this is great. Like, this is gonna be so good for our son and our daughter. This is awesome. And yeah, life goes on. We went to bed. I thought everything was normal, I guess. 2 weeks, I think about 2 weeks goes on after this. I'm like, we're fine. No fights, no nothing. We're getting along great. Easy peasy. Like, seriously, I can't stress that enough. This specific 2 weeks was like the most tame that our marriage had ever been. So like least expectancy of something like this happening. And so I wake up just like one random day and I'm checking our business email like I do. And I see an Apple receipt come through for this app. And it says like AI girlfriend boyfriend app. And so I'm like, that's really weird. What? So I go Google it and it, I guess, is like a sexting, like we can talk to each other and it's like an AI girlfriend boyfriend thing. Don't really know. Anyways, so oh, I always forget this part of the story for some reason, but another thing that he lied about in our marriage towards the end, this is probably like a month before this AI chat business. He came to me like a month before that and he's like, I really want to lose weight, and I talked to my doctor and my doctor said I'm low on testosterone, and so I'm gonna start taking testosterone. I'm like, obviously, like I'm supporting this. I'm like, cool, King, like lose your weight. Like I'm not ready to lose weight yet. Like I'm busy. I just had a baby, but like good for you. And when I said this, he's like, oh, don't worry, honey. Like I'll save up and I'll buy you Ozempic. Girl, what? Literally, he said that to me. And I was like, it's okay, babe. I'm good. Anyway, okay. So he's taking testosterone. And when I found this like AI thing, I'm just like, okay, maybe this is like a weird symptom of like his testosterone situation. I don't know. So I was like so cool and nice about finding this out. Like, I pulled him aside in the morning and I was just like, hi, sweetie. Like, I found this. Like, it made me really insecure, honestly. Like, I just want to talk about it, you know? And he, like, immediately is like, you're dumb. That's not mine, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, finally he admits that it's his. And I'm like, okay, well, I have to work at the preschool right now, so I can't talk about this, you know, let's talk about it after work. And it was not even like really a volatile argument at this point. It was just us talking in a frustrated manner, I guess. And he left to go take our son to school. He came back around 11 a.m. that day. You know, I'm like, hey, how are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm good. I'm going to go grab our cameras and take them to the shop so I can get them cleaned and checked out before our next wedding. And I was like, okay, cool, sounds good. You know, not thinking anything of it. Like, we weren't even talking about the situation yet. So he grabs our cameras. He has our camera bag on his back, and I give him like a side hug because we were kind of frustrated at each other still. And I'm like, all right, I love you. I'll see you later. And then I see his location moving all over the place, all over Portland, just manic. Like, I don't even know what he was doing, really. And I'm, like, working, so I didn't have, like, a ton of time to investigate. But I could tell that he was not going to our camera shop. And so I'm like, well, what is going on? So I'm texting him, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Let's talk. Like, what's up? I'm not hearing anything from him. And so, like, my anxiety, and I could feel it. Like, I could feel it in my soul that something very, very bad was about to happen. But I, like, couldn't put my finger on it, right? It got so bad, actually, to the point where, like, I have a note in my phone, which is, like, really sad to read. If I can find it, I'll, like, put it over here somewhere. But it was basically, like, me acknowledging how bad of a feeling I had about this. And so, yeah, I write that note and I move on with my day. And then around 3 p.m., I got the text. Again, if I can find it, I'll put it right here somewhere. But it was this long text basically saying, like, I'm divorcing you. Sorry, rejection hurts. Literally, he did say that. He's like, don't mess with my businesses and I won't mess with yours. And I'll be, you know, putting the papers together on Monday and you're never going to see me. This is a final decision. And I just, like, froze. I still had 2 hours of work left, by the way. So I still had all of the kids with me. And my newborn daughter, or, like, infant daughter. I guess she was a newborn. She looked like a newborn because she was preemie at the time. But anyway, I'm, like, freaking out, right? Like, I could not breathe. Like, literally could not breathe. I was shocked. Like, I couldn't even fathom that that was happening to me or my daughter. And because I had known, like, his reactions about his son and, like, fighting for him and stuff, I knew that it was at least pretty likely that he was not going to fight for our daughter. And honestly, out of all of the outcomes that could have happened, that one made me the most sad. Because, like, yeah, just no words for that, right? Like, now I have to explain to my daughter one day, like, why you don't have a dad, or, like, why your dad didn't choose you, basically. And, like, that really, really, really broke my heart at the time. And so, yeah, basically, he leaves and I start making plans. I call my mom, I call my dad, I call my family. Everyone's like, get to Tennessee, like, right now, like, we'll help you, like, we got this, don't even worry. And so I had my mom buy me a plane ticket and I was gonna leave the next day because I was scared. Like, I was scared to live on my own. I hadn't lived on my own in, like, 4 or 5 years. Like, I had this baby, like, what was I gonna do? So my mom bought me a plane ticket. And then I went and slept at a hotel just because I didn't know, like, is he gonna come back? Like, I didn't know what kind of mental health episode this man was going through at this time. So, like, I was genuinely scared. So I stayed at a hotel planning to go get on a plane the next day and change my entire life and give up basically and just be like, all right, well, fuck. Like him stealing all of our cameras and everything that was in that camera bag. It basically was, I think, 2 or 3 of our cameras, our laptop. It had all of our like filters on it, our lenses, chargers, batteries, like so much of our stuff was in this bag that he had taken with him. And I knew that it was going to take me a long time to recover those things and be able to continue on with business as usual. And so, yeah, I bought a plane ticket and planned to go to Tennessee. The next morning I woke up with this, like, again, huge voice in my body, in my head, telling me, like, don't go, you can do this. Do not give up on the things that you've built in Portland. Like, do not let this man take that from you or your kid. Fuck that. You're going to work your damn ass off. You're going to get a new camera or you're going to get yours back in the divorce, and you are not going to let this man fuck with you. You are not going to do it. You let this man do this to you for 4.5 years in a row. You let this man get you attached to a child that you will never see again. You let this man leave you more times than I can fucking count, and I was okay with it. Like, I let myself get abused in this marriage and thrown around. I did everything for our businesses, and I was constantly having to put out fires that he was creating. Like, I'm talking literal lawsuits and shit. Like, it was so bad. And I was just holding it together for the longest time. And so this time I was like, fuck that. Enough is enough. I'm done. I'm going to win this fucking divorce, and I'm going to make an example out of this fucking man, because you don't get to just do this to one woman and then do it to another, like, and just keep doing it. Like, that is so sick. And so, yeah, no, I buckled down. I got an attorney. I got a new boyfriend who might have bought me my Canon R6 Mark II and my lens, or at least helped with the lens part. Yeah, anyway, I don't always recommend rebounding right after a divorce, but I will say thank you. Shout out to my ex. We're not still together, my rebound and me, but shout out to my ex for buying me that camera. Really helped me out. And I really needed it at the time. And yeah, as soon as I got that camera again, I got right to work. I started doing shoots all the time. A lot of time I had my daughter like strapped in my like carry-on thing or her carry thing and my camera. Like, it was craziness, but I was not taking no for an answer. I was going to make it in this industry no matter what. That was mandatory for me. And now I have so many reasons for it, right? Like, I'm passionate about doing this, and now I hate my ex enough to like really, really do this. So I was like full of like, let's go energy. And that's exactly what I did. It took about a year, but I finally got divorced. I did, in fact, win my cameras back. He still hasn't given them back to me or paid them off like he's supposed to. I got our vehicle in the divorce. I got full custody of our daughter, full parenting time. He didn't show up to our divorce. So, yeah, I pretty much got everything that I asked for. I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing. He does not ask about our daughter, and he does not see his other son. I think that this story taught me a lot about people. And you just never fucking know someone, really. You just never really know who they are. I mean, when he left, like, I genuinely had no idea what he was even going to do. I was like, where is he gonna go? And this part of the story is where it gets very shocking. So he left. Sorry, I know this story is like all over the place. I'm like a terrible storyteller. ADHD. When he left, I think it was like 3 days after he left. Yeah, I think it was like 3 days after he left. I get a call from his baby mama. We'll call her Christy. Christy calls me And I'm like, hey, like, did you hear what's going on? Like, why are you calling me, you know? And she tells me, she's like, hey, I just want you to know that Billy's at my house and he's telling me that he's in love with me and that he always has been. And I just wanted to tell you because I told him that if he didn't tell you that I was going to. This woman that my husband supposedly hated her
If
guts,
you remember in the beginning of this story,
hated
when I
more
had
than
asked
anyone,
him
couldn't
to
even
take
get
her
in a
out to
parking lot with
dinner,
her.
yeah,
That's where he was.
I think
They,
I think
yes,
that might
they
be
got
when they
back
started
together
planning
for like
this.
3
I don't
months.
know for sure. That's just a hypothesis, but yep. Mhm.
He like went and lived with his son's mom for 3 months until Christmas. And then he abandoned them too on Christmas Day, which I told her he was going to do. I was like, girl, he's just using you for housing. Like, I don't know why you're letting him stay with you. And yeah, then he left them on Christmas. And then 2 months after that, she apologizes to me. She's like, I'm so sorry that like I slept with your husband, and like I'm so sorry that like that all happened. Like, my kid really misses you. I know you can't be his step parent anymore, but like, you know, you own that daycare. Like, would you mind watching him over the summer? I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, he's always welcome. I'd love to see him again and have him, you know, have time with his sister. And she literally used me for daycare. Discounted daycare, by the way, because I'm way too fucking nice. Yeah, she was paying me like $10 a day for both of her sons. So not just my stepson, ex-stepson, but his brother on her side was also at my daycare. And yeah, $10 a day is what I charged her for that. And then yeah, the last day of daycare, she blocked my number, and I have not seen my stepson since, which I'm really sad about. But I have faith that we will get reconnected hopefully someday in life if we're meant to. I miss him a lot. There's definitely a lot of bittersweet parts of the story, but there's also some really, really positive parts of this story. This divorce gave me my life back, and I really want to preface it with this. Like, this is not meant to be a self-pity victimhood story. I kicked fucking ass. Honestly, I kicked ass during my divorce. I kicked ass after it. I am a luxury elopement adventure wedding photographer now. I travel all over the place. I'm also a photography mentor, and I teach other photographers. So hi, if you need a badass mentor and you want someone that doesn't take no for a fucking answer, it's me, bitch. It's me, okay? Also, if you are looking for a wedding photographer, I'm usually a lot more professional than this, but this is going to be my photographer YouTube space, so expect me to be a little less professional over here, especially with the cuss words. However, yeah, I share my story because it is insane how these men will just trick you and lie to you and gaslight you. And honestly, like, I ate it all up. And a big part of growing up for me was realizing that these words, love, gratitude, when your man is like, oh, I'm so grateful for you, I love you so much, like, those are words, but they're also action words. And so if you're not seeing that action consistently, take note of that. Take note of that. If there's no consistency in the way that your person is treating you, take note of that. Sometimes, like, the things that are red flags are so teeny tiny. You know, don't be down on yourself for missing them, but also don't, you know, learn from my mistakes if you can. One of my favorite quotes in this world is, it takes a smart woman to learn from her own mistakes, but it takes a wise woman to learn from the mistakes of others. And if you can take anything from my stories at all, definitely, I think if you can learn from them, please do. That's why I'm a big vulnerability girl on the internet, even though I get hated for that sometimes. I married a sociopath, and I had no idea he lied so much in our marriage about like some of the craziest things too. Like some of the things he would lie about, I can't even. He lied to me and told me that he got an honorable discharge from the military for a long time. Turns out he got like I don't know, it's like in the middle ground of like honorable and dishonorable. I don't know. At least that's what he told me. But like, yeah, it was a crazy comeback story for me, and something that I still have to fight for, and it is something that I still have to really work at being okay with. I work really hard at my businesses to provide for my daughter. I'm glad that she's safe, and I'm glad that I'm away from that situation. Being in a toxic, abusive marriage is so hard and so scary, and if you are looking for a reason to get out of one, I hope that this can inspire you. This man, I didn't go very much into the details, and maybe that's for the best, I don't know, but this man was abusive in ways I didn't even know could happen to you. There were times that he left me with bruises and marks. He pushed me down our concrete stairs outside of our apartments, which also, guys, be a good bystander. If you ever see one of your neighbors and their significant other fighting like that, please call. Because I had neighbors that were literally like peeking out the window at me being pushed down concrete stairs and never said anything. They literally never said anything. Never called the police, nothing. I did get a restraining order on him, but that was during our like 2-year breakup point mark, and when we got back together, he made me walk into the courtroom and get it dismissed. And yeah, they will do that also, by the way. It's so crazy the amount of times that I thought, wow, this has got to be over, and it never was. I lost friends over it because my friends just literally could not watch me hurt myself in this relationship anymore, you know? And today, he doesn't do photography anymore, at least as far as I know. Now we're at the present moment, and I don't have any contact with my ex-husband, right? So I thought. But 2 months ago, I got a comment on my post on Are We Dating the Same Guy from a woman, right? And she's like, I'm going on a date with him. Could you give me some info? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And so we start messaging, and basically I'll spare you guys the details, but turns out that this woman was my ex-husband, and he wasn't really trying to get information about him. He actually was trying to befriend me. Like, this woman was like, she talked about him for like a second or two, but then like I gave her the bad news about him, and she was like, oh yeah, no, like I'm definitely not gonna go on a date with him, like for sure. And I told her, I was like, yeah, I think he's like, he definitely has a girlfriend, or he might be engaged, I don't know. And she's like, how do you know that? And so I sent a picture, and she's like, oh, I know that girl. And I was like, you do? She's like, yeah, that's his fiance. They're actually like pregnant right now. Blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of like how he like was able to connect, like telling me information about them. Cause like there were certain things he wanted me to know about him without it actually coming from him, if that makes sense. He wanted me to know he was having a baby. But he didn't want to be the real one to tell me that. And so he like made up this whole character. Anyways, so like we're talking, and it took me about maybe an hour to realize that it was him, because every time she was like really trying to be my friend, right? Like, I don't know this girl at all. I'm just trying to help her with this random man that she's supposedly going on a date with. That's supposedly my ex-husband, right? But she's like hardcore trying to be my friend. She's trying to talk to me about photography and my daughter and like how's life and like weird stuff like this. I get a weird feeling about it, so I stopped messaging her. And then 2 weeks later, she messages me again, and she's like, hey, how's it going with photography? And I'm like, I I don't know her. Like, that is so weird. Why would she randomly ask me about photography? And then it dawned on me that it was him. And so I start playing along, baby. I start playing along because I knew he was going to out himself if it was him. So I'm like, oh, photography's going really good. I'm like super successful. It gets really hard though sometimes. And then I was like, sometimes I wish that I still had a business partner. And that did it for him. I knew that if he thought that I missed him a little bit, he was going to out himself. And so I said that, and what do you know? He was like, well, she was like, oh, like, well, maybe he wants to be business partners with you again too. Like, maybe he misses you. Mind you, I had just told this woman that he pushed me down the stairs like 2 weeks ago. So why are you suggesting that we like go back to talking? Like, I didn't even say I missed him. I said I miss having a business partner sometimes. And she was like, well, why don't you call him? Anyway, the conversation just like continued on to be about him. She just kept saying like, well, maybe this, maybe he misses his family with you and that's why he's having a new baby. Name one girl, name one fucking woman that would ever say that to another woman. Maybe he just misses his baby girl and that's like why he's having another kid. What? No, you were fucking crazy. Eventually I called him out and I was like, Billy, I know this is you. Like, what? And he, I shit you fucking not, had his fiance call me and be like, hello. And yeah, that was that. I blocked them. That was the end of that. He doesn't pay any child support. He's not in our lives. And I kick ass at photography now. Don't ever, ever, ever let a man take your dreams away. Don't ever, ever let a man catfish you as a woman to be your friend again. That is so fucking weird. Yeah, that's my divorce story time. I know it's been long awaited. Basically, the long story short is that this man stole $10,000 worth of my photography gear. I had to rebrand and kick ass and get through that. And he was a cheater and a liar and a sociopath. And healing from that can be difficult. But we're 2 years down the line from our separation and I feel so good. I've been taking care of myself and my daughter and my businesses. I go to the gym all the time now. I have my little dog. Life's good. But yeah, anyways, if you're here, I have so many more crazy stories and I promise you I am going to get better at this podcast. I think that this podcast will end up being like in my car, maybe. And then, yeah, it's going to be like literally like after I get done with sessions and I'm going to just talk because I'm really good at just talking. And so if you like rambling and if you like chaotic story times and if you like learning some crazy life lessons that hopefully you don't have to get through, you should follow me. And if you're a photographer who wants to learn more things about photography, you should follow me. Anyways, thank you guys for listening and watching. I really appreciate it. And yeah, give me a follow. I will be posting hopefully once a week. Fingers crossed that I can stick to that. And the rest of my YouTube content will be less toxic and less dramatic, hopefully. Anyways, thank you for listening. Bye, guys. Bro, I did it. I made the podcast. I'm sorry. I had to do it. I had to make the podcast. I'm sorry.